PHP members. Did a poll a couple weeks ago about equipment you guys want to know more about. We went over the safety squat bar and some of those uses. There are more, so if you have questions, hit me up when you're here. Also had some people wanting to know more about the Fatbells. So, brief history on Fatbells. They came about by a guy named Donnie Thompson, who's the first guy to ever break 3,000 pound total in powerlifting. And he was looking for a solution to kettlebells, that if you use kettlebells, you're doing like cleans or snatches, kind of the bell flipping over and banging into you before you're good at it is an issue on the learning curve, right? So he was like, what is a thing we could use to do kettlebell cleans, kettlebell snatches, basically the things that are gonna beat you up, but not beat you up. So this was his solution. And really anything you could do kettlebell-wise, swings, snatches, cleans, you could do with a dumbbell as well, but these look more like kettlebells, so that was kind of the original thought. So you can do kettlebell things with this. Only thing you can do with this, or with kettlebells that you can't do with this, is a two-handed swing, because hard to fit both your hands in there. So if you want to play around with doing like more ballistic movements, cleaning or snatching and moving kettlebells like that, but you don't want to get beat up, Fatbells are great, dumbbells are great. They both work extremely well for that. Over time, people kind of discovered that they are a much better substitute for dumbbells than they are for kettlebells. So any movement you would do with a dumbbell, you want to do front raises, lateral raises, dumbbell bench, overhead press, rows, whatever you want to do, these work. They work slightly differently as well. All right, so for example, when we're using dumbbells, this is a 25 pound dumbbell, this is a 26 pound kettlebell or Fatbell. When you're holding a dumbbell, the weight is kind of equidistant to the middle of your hand. So the weight's here, there's no weight on top of you, there's no weight this way, it's just side to side. Compared to when you use a Fatbell, the weight is more surrounding everything. So there's been anecdotal stories about people feeling like they just get a better pump with Fatbells versus dumbbells. And that, for a while, I couldn't figure out why, but I was experiencing a similar thing. And basically what I've determined kind of is the thing that makes them different from each other is because there's weight on top of your hand, not just to the side of your hand. You have to stabilize more, like when you're bringing down a bench press, it's trying to tip you over. So you're a little more in control because you have to be, so there's more stability muscles firing, so there's more tissues doing stuff, which is gonna result in more blood flow to the areas that are doing things and more of a pump. Other thing that makes them slightly different than dumbbells is if you have a hard time controlling your wrist, like if you're doing curls, and your wrist dips when you're curling because you have a weak wrist, this is going to give you tactile cues. Because when I am curling, if I lose my wrist, I'm gonna bang it on yourself. If you're pressing and you're not centered, the inside of this is gonna touch your wrist, so you'll get a tactile cue that you are not keeping a neutral, strong wrist position. So that's a good teaching tool. Definitely makes them a little harder because again, you're trying to keep things more stable than you would instinctually be trying to with a dumbbell. Two more things that make this different, and I think I like these better than dumbbells. They look cooler. That's a huge thing. I like shit to look cool when I'm doing it. Fatbells look cool when you're pressing it just because they're not super easy to find at gyms. So that's a plus in my mind. Secondly, they do have a slight difference in jumps. So dumbbells, we got 5 pound jumps are super common at any gym you're gonna go to. We have the little red plates that let you take 2.5 pound jumps per dumbbell. These are traditional kettlebell weights. So they're in kilos. So you have a 26 pound, a 35, 44, 53, 62, 70, 80, 88, 97, 106, and 124. So your jumps are more in that 9 to 11 pound range per hand, which is a big jump. So if you want to use dumbbells in your accessory work training, you're gonna be able to more easily progress. So if you're just going 3 by 10 and you're trying to add weight week by week or month by month, adding 5 pounds per hand is gonna be more doable than adding 8 pounds per hand or 10 pounds per hand. So as a result, you might have to be like, on dumbbells, maybe you get to 12 reps. Cool, I'm gonna go up weight and go for 10s. Once you can get 12s, cool, you can go up again and go for 10s. You just need to space it out more with Fatbells. If I'm hitting the 35-pound Fatbells on dumbbell bench and I get 10 reps with it, going to a 44-pound Fatbell per hand is a huge jump. And if you're barely getting 10, you are not gonna get anywhere close to 10. You're probably gonna get like 6. So the progression on these need to focus more on bringing your reps up before the weight. So if I wanted to program these for dumbbell bench, and say you're doing those 35s, you get 10 pretty easy. The next week, we're gonna try to get 11. The next week, we're gonna try to get 12. Next week, we're gonna try to get, once you can get to 15 or so, then you could probably make the jump to the 44s and be able to swing it for 8 to 10. So you just need to spend more time with specific weights to earn your way to the next bell, just because they're bigger jumps. But really, the main use you're gonna see people utilizing these for is gonna be substitutions for dumbbells. Typically I've found that if people wanna learn kettlebells, they would just wanna learn kettlebells, and learning a Fatbell doesn't teach them kettlebells, so it just doesn't get used as much. So use these just like you would use a dumbbell. The side that has a rectangle that says Thompson Fatbells has the weight, 26 pounds. The weights on these are the same as the weights on the kettlebells, like I said earlier, and they're color coded. So blues are 26, yellows are 35s, all black is 44, green 53, orange 62, red 70, gray is 80, white is 88. The big blues are 97, the big yellows are 106, the big black ones are 124, and we will get a set of 150s that'll be green probably in March. I hope that answered your questions. Definitely comment under here, either on the YouTube video or in the Facebook group, if you have any more questions on these. I use these a ton in my training. When my clients are strong enough to use them, I really like using them. It's just fun to touch new gear. Hit me up if you got any questions, and we'll see you at the gym.